folks, it's Mary, aka Mercy Triumphs, here with another episode of Slow Crochet. And today, I want to do what I've seen so many YouTubers do, and they always seem to come across my feed. I'm going to organize my yarn stash. What is funny to me about this is that I do not have a huge stash. You know, so many times when people will say, organize your yarn with me, come join me. It's a lot of fun because it feels like a little yarn store experience. But for me, I have not very much. I have four or five of these bins. And I can fit a couple on my shelves. But that's it. I don't have a huge stash. I did actually want to reorganize it because I realized that I have a lot of scrap balls and I want to get those in the same place. There's a couple of projects that I want to work on coming up that requires scraps. So I wanted to make sure that I could easily access just a tub of scraps or a basket of scraps and not have to worry about pawing through different things. In the past, I've organized my yarn in a lot of different ways. I used to have all the yarn in nice, beautiful arrays on the shelves, but then I realized it was actually kind of harder for me to keep up with it that way. And if I just put it in nice little clear totes, that number one, I felt like things stayed cleaner, and number two, I could just pull them out and not like have all the Jenga blocks of yarn tumbling down on me. So especially having more scraps, and all those are just balled up into little balls. Those don't really easily fit nicely in beautiful swaths on the shelves. Now, right now, I do not feel like I am in a creative slump. I feel like I have too many ideas. But it's a good moment for me right now to get to know my stash a little bit before I jump into a lot of projects. There's some ideas that I had kicking around, and I thought that I had full skeins or full hanks, and maybe that's not the case. Or I have several balls that I've frogged back a time or two. So we shall see. So that again is what I'm going to be doing with my yarn stash. Now it won't be a rainbow wall, but I am going to have fun, and I hope that you enjoy this process along with me. All right, project basket there. This is a scrap basket, kind of work in progress. It is such a work in progress and such a like a non-thing that I don't even consider it a work in progress. But for now, because it's clearly in progress, I'm gonna have my my trusty in hook in there. For now, I'm gonna start by putting all my scraps straight in here. So scrap, like literal, not a full skein balled up or whatever in there. I have 6 of these. Now, there's something in it, but 6 of these little totes. So one of the things I'm going to try to do is organize in such a way that these can stack to a shelf. So I do have lids for them as well. So that's going to be one of my criteria as I look at my stash. This little puppy is full of, 7 different colors of Lion Brand Respect. I saw these at Joann's. It feels like a long time ago now. It's probably within the year or last year. Loved them. Thought they were way overpriced for what they are. Love the weight. Love the chain spun nature of them. And I think I was just watching Lion Brand's website, and when they had a sale, when they finally were at a price point that I was comfortable with, I got a bunch of colors. There is a project in mind with these, but it's not going to be for a while, so I'm going to keep that together in that nice little basket that my mother-in-law made. So let me start by starting to toss some scrap balls in here, and then I'll pause when I have another idea of like, oh, what do I need to do? So scrap balls. Oh, number 2, I'm going to just do 100% acrylic or like non-natural fibers, full skeins or full hanks or full cakes or whatever straight in here. So any synthetic fibers get their own place. So let's start with that. This one's hard because it's more of this. And then technically it's not a full ball, but it's similar enough that if I wanted to make a bigger project, I would want these together. So I think I'll keep them together, even though technically this is a scrap. All right, Fancy Hank. This to me looks like Sully from Monsters, Inc. I love the colors. Not typically colors that I'm drawn to, but I think everything looks really beautiful with like an olive green. So I feel like this is a jam for me. I was given some funds, some Mother's Day spending money, and I indulged at one of my local yarn shops, Bliss Yarns. And in fact, I think I would have to go back and check, but someone did a video of Bliss Yarns like a month or so before I went, and I saw this in the video, and it had caught my eye then. And so of all the things in the store, this was the one hank that came home with me. It is Miss Babs, which I'm not on Instagram as of the filming of this video. I'm not really on social media in general, but I'm sure that Miss Babs, it seems to have a high caliber name in the yarn world. And I guess she's from Tennessee. Yep, Mountain City, Tennessee, USA, hand dyed. Anyway, this came home with me, and this tells me I need a special space for special hanks. So separate for that. This is another challenging one. So this is something that I have a couple of skeins of, and I only have one full and two incomplete. Kind of want to keep these together. I'm going to kind of make a pile of, not quite sure what I'm going to do with it yet. Right here. I got several colors of this from Little Knits, and I do have plans for this particular color. I have 5 of these. In fact, one of these is already balled up. I don't even remember when I did that. I was so excited, and then I know what it's going to be at some point hopefully in the near future, but definitely special. Love that superwash wool. That goes with this, and I kind of want to keep it together because I actually do have in mind what I want to do. I want to use some of this Chloe. It's beautiful Chloe, that thank you Hobby Lobby clearance. I ended up with 2 of these, and I think they would be just perfect with another Hobby Lobby clearance. This delicious olive green. You know, olive green just goes well with every color. So I have in mind something that I want to do with this. So maybe I need a separate bin for things that I have something planned for them. All right. So this is wool, and these are blends. Now these are both wool blends, but they're Noro and they were just frogged back. But technically blends, I don't know. This is why it's hard, because I would like to have a dedicated space, you know, for every little thing, but so many things can fall in multiple categories. This is wool. This is wool. This is not a full skein. That's less full, but it's bulky. Do I organize by weight? This is nearly full. All right, let's assess. Determined. I'm going to keep one bin semi-empty, just with like a little crochet thread. I'm going to keep that empty because as as I use up scraps, I'm gonna want to have some place for things to go. So it's okay to have something that will eventually be full of scraps. And those are both partially used anyway. For now, I do, look at this chaos of yarn labels. Does anyone else keep yarn labels? I'm gonna put them in here because I can tell which ones go where. I'm not stabbing myself with any little pins, hopefully. Put these in here just for now, because that will help inform me in the near future. And it's easier if they're all together in a kind of a scrappy way. So that's that. What else? I have balls and a skein that has a ball that goes with it. These are mostly 100% wool. They're not necessarily full, but since they're balls, they're a little bit harder to handle. So that's going to go there. And I think this will go here on my pretty fancy stuff. Now the only exception here is within my hanks, I do have that one ball that's going to stay. It needs to stay with its sisters, I think. I have all 5 of those together for now. Those pretty friends can go under my kind of notions there. This is another project in process. Hopefully that won't be there much longer. And then these are just a few blends. It's pretty empty right now, so maybe what I'll do, I haven't started on this project yet, but since it is blends, I'll put it in here, but it's all together as a project. So project to be. Watch this space. And then I just have my synthetic fibers boxed up, and those are going to go on the bottom. All right, so that leaves a little space here. I am just going to put my cottons straight back underneath the dress that I'm working on, so that can all be together in one basket. And those don't have to be in storage at the moment, because this comes with me different places. Another little project, and then so much that qualifies as scraps. You know what, that might just have to sit by my chair for a minute, and I can pull from that as needed. All right, folks, so that is it. That is my version of Organize My Yarn Stash with me. I hope that you have been as amused as I was going through this process. To be honest, there's not a whole lot of big changes, but you know, it's the little micro decisions, right? Like, does this qualify as scrap yarn, or does this qualify as something that I am putting aside for another project? You know, it does help to go through and kind of clear your mind and see what you had. I was talking to one of my children earlier, like I was saying, oh, I don't think I have that color of yarn. And because I had my big mountain of yarn out, they pointed right to it, like, you mean that color, Mommy? I'm like, oh, yes, that exact color. I guess I do have that. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, listening to me ramble. Hope you could relate to part of it. If not, thank you so much for listening this long. If I'm not your cup of tea, thanks for listening. If you have enjoyed spending your time with me, by all means, thank you for doing all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, subscribe, bell notification, all those kinds of things. I am enjoying this process of growing into the YouTube channel space. Thank you so much for being along for the journey, and I hope to see you again soon.